Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this third day of the European Sustainable Energy Week 2022. Well, we're halfway through the conference. We had the past 2 days, but we still have 2 more days to go to continue sharing, exchanging on the most pressing topics of Europe's energy landscape, and to continue networking also with each other as part of the activities of the European Sustainable Energy Week. For those of us who might be joining today for the first time, my name is Ana Gumbau. I'm a climate and energy journalist, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies for this week. Yesterday, we had 2 very exciting thematic blogs and discussions that took place here at the European Sustainable Energy Week on the topics of REPowerEU and digitalization, no less. We had a great turnout throughout the sessions yesterday, and also really active participation across sessions, plenty of questions that were asked, plenty of polls that were answered. So we expect today to be at least just as active as yesterday. Because today we will have 2 thematic blocks. During the morning, we will have our sessions on energy efficiency, and then the afternoon will be entirely dedicated to renewable energies. And during lunchtime, stay tuned, because here at the De Gasperi Room, we will have the launch of the Biomethane Partnership with Executive Vice President Frans Timmermans and Commissioner Kadri Simpson. Now, for those of you joining on-site today, we have a solar car outside. So if you have any break that you would like to get some air and leave the building, make sure to check it out. Also, our exhibitors are still available at the Energy Fair. Some of them are still joining here on site if you are in Brussels. And a lot of them will still have their remote booths online. So make sure to be there to connect with other participants and to check the exciting projects and work that they are doing. As I said, this today will also be all about participation from your side. Many of today's sessions will be using Slido. So have your phone or your electronic device that you're using ready for that. We will have multiple parallel sessions today, so when you're in Slido, just make sure to select the right session from the drop-down menu at the top right of the screen. All of today's sessions will be available for replay shortly after they are over. You just go through the online platform and select the session you would like to re-watch. All of yesterday's session and the ones on Monday are already available. Today's policy sessions will all take place in English, by the way. Now, let's move to our next stop in this journey, that is the European Sustainable Energy Week 2022, which is the thematic block on energy efficiency. Well, energy savings will be central to achieve the objectives under the Fit for 55. And in the current context of the energy crisis of high energy prices, it has gained more prominence than ever. Because you know what they say, the best energy is the energy that we don't use, is the energy that we save. So today we will dive deep into what's at stake in energy efficiency, on the developments of the ongoing legislation, and to give us a first taste of what we can expect from this thematic block in the morning, I'm delighted to welcome again Paula Pinho. She's the Director for Just Transition, Consumers, Energy Efficiency and Innovation in the Directorate General for Energy of the European Commission, who will give us a keynote speech to get things started this morning. So, Paula, thank you very much for being with us, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A real pleasure to welcome you here today. Many still online. This is the virtue now of having the hybrid event, but it's definitely an added pleasure to welcome you physically after 2 years of only online events. And as you know well, the reason why for 2 years we had to please ourselves with an online event only was because we were facing a crisis, which was a global crisis, a health crisis. It was COVID back then. And that followed another global crisis, which was climate change, and which had triggered the vision of the EU Green Deal, of really making Europe the first climate-neutral continent in the world by 2050. And then COVID hit, and for some time, people were asking whether this is the end of the EU Green Deal. It turned out that it became an accelerator of the decarbonization and an understanding that we would need to do more and faster. And as we were coming out of COVID, yet another crisis is hitting us. And this time, it's the energy crisis, prompted in particular by the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and which is now leading to unprecedented high prices, a challenge in terms of energy security, and a challenge to the whole society, notably due to this completely unsustainable prices that touch the whole of the economy and each individual. Now, guess what? To each of these three crises, climate change, COVID, and now energy efficiency is a reply, a response to tackle the three of them. And it is therefore really a surprise that we are not all together doing much more about energy efficiency. As Anna already said, energy efficiency is really the cheapest, the cleanest, and the safest energy, because it's the one which allows us to use less and to use more efficiently. And there are two aspects to it. On the one hand, is about saving energy, bringing down our demand. And that is at reach of anyone, and is now really a clear call to everyone to really try to do its utmost in reducing demand of energy. But beyond the immediate energy savings, we need to promote a structural change. A structural change which is at the very foundation of how we produce and use energy every day, and with that, really help putting an end to our dependence on fossil fuels, and the more so on imported fossil fuels. So in this sense, energy efficiency is also a strategic tool to strengthen, to safeguard our energy system and to make it more resilient. And it is therefore no surprise that it's been at the basis of all the underpinning policies of the decarbonization promoted by the EU and by the European Green Deal. And if you look at, for example, one of the vehicles of the energy efficiency in terms of legislation is the Energy Efficiency Directive. And as part of the proposals to deliver on this ambition to reduce by 55% the greenhouse gas emissions of the EU by 2030, the Commission had put forward a proposal for energy efficiency, whereby there was an increased binding EU target for 2030 of energy efficiency of 9%. And this was accompanied by national contributions from member states. Member states should all contribute to this EU target, which for the first time would become mandatory at European level. But there is, at the same time, a big untapped potential for measures across the different sectors of the economy, be it buildings, be it industry, be it transport. And as a response to the ongoing war in Ukraine, back in May this year, the Commission put forward the REPowerEU plan as a response to the global energy market disruption, and aimed at not just rolling out the legislation that it had already proposed, but really at accelerating it, because the issue is, again, that even though, and we are seeing, and many out there are asking now, some member states are reverting back to coal, are prolonging the nuclear power plants. Again, is this the end now of the European Green Deal? And again, the answer here, on the contrary. There is a deviation for the immediate term. If we want to ensure energy security, there has to be this deviation, temporary, exceptional, for a short and limited time, but the path is absolutely clear. And not only is the path clear in terms of we need to continue to pursue on the decarbonization path, but it has become very clear that we need to do it faster, much faster, and this is what was reflected in the REPowerEU plan. Now, this has been understood by the co-legislators, by the Parliament, by the Member States in the Council, who have agreed indeed to put all their efforts in the negotiations of these proposals, which were the famous Fit for 55 proposals, and which include the Energy Efficiency Directive, which include the Performance of Buildings Directive, the Renewables Directive, and several others. And not only to accelerate, and you know it can be lengthy in the EU, but we have now really reached record times in terms of adoption of the legislation. So it has been understood that we need to do it, we need to do it well, fast, and we might even need to increase the ambition. And this is actually what has come out of the Parliament's report, the European Parliament's report, just a couple of weeks ago, where it has taken the Commission proposal and it has taken the proposed 9% target for energy efficiency for 2030 and said, this is not enough in the current context. We actually need to do more. We would need a target of 14.5% by 2030. Now, let's see how this will play out. There is discussion, negotiation now then also with the Council, and we will see where we'll land. But the bottom line is, there is a clear understanding of everyone that we need to seize the potential of energy efficiency and maybe be even more ambitious when it comes to energy efficiency and other policy measures. But as said, we have also seen that apart from the more mid-long-term structural changes that would be promoted, for instance, by the directive on energy efficiency, we need to seize the potential of immediate energy savings. That's what the Commission reflected in the EUSEW energy communication, to promote immediate energy savings by citizens, business, through behavioral choices. And here, really, let us not underestimate the role that each one of us, you and me, everyone in this room and beyond, can play in this energy savings. And it's not an issue for the policymakers and the politicians and the institutions back there in Brussels, in the EU. It's really about our behavior in our daily life. Everyone can contribute, and in fact, we estimated that through very, very simple measures, such as reducing the heating temperature at home, now that the days are starting to get colder, drive more economically, shift as much as possible to more public transport, switch off the lights whenever we don't need them. These very simple measures can lead together in the EU by a cut of gas and oil demand by 5%, which is really quite significant when it's all about really bringing down demand so as to ensure energy security. And that is also in this logic that the Commission has proposed at the end of July a regulation on reducing gas demand. And this regulation, other than what is usual in the EU, which is a lengthy process of decision and discussion and negotiation, it was adopted in record time, proposed by the Commission on the 20th of July, adopted by the energy ministers on the 26th, and a few days later in force in the official journal. And wherever you may be coming from your home countries, you may have seen, hopefully, we would expect that the governments have already started putting into place and implementing this gas demand reduction by national measures. We've been hearing from many member states where the shops are closing earlier, that there's no public lighting in the monuments as of a certain hour. These are all measures now being implemented by member states as a result of this gas demand reduction, which says that between August this year and March next year, we should reduce by 15% our gas demand reduction. So really, this is also not just a question of energy security, it's also about bringing down energy costs and conveying a clear signal to the market that we are reducing the demand and hoping that this is also comes also at help to the ones most vulnerable. And by the way, with the current energy prices, it's no longer just about vulnerable customers, as we call in the jargon. It's about everyone in any middle class who is striking with increasing energy bills. So it's really in the interest of everyone. Then, and this you may hear and see in the news, reducing gas demand needs to be complemented also by reducing electricity demand. And that was the proposal that the Commission put forward 2 weeks ago and is being discussed tomorrow, not tomorrow, on the 30th, on Friday, by the energy ministers here in Brussels. And here the idea also is to bring down demand of electricity over the winter by 10%, and within those 10%, 5% in the peak hours. Then where there is most consumption, the idea is really to reduce as much as possible. So here, today, we will have, during this morning, the possibility to explore, to go in depth in the various sectors where energy efficiency can really make a difference. So we'll start with a session immediately after this one, which will focus on making REPowerEU operational through mobilizing investments and empowering citizens. It is about investments too. If we are asked to go from our gas boilers to a heat pump, there needs to be also the financial means. And we know it's not always the cheapest. So what are the investments and financial tools available? So both from DG Energy and also CINEA, both have invited very, very interesting speakers who are representing very concrete, hands-on projects under Horizon 2020 and Life Clean Energy Transition, which reflect innovative solutions being taken up, for instance, by energy communities, one-stop shops for home renovations, so that one knows where to start if we engage in a journey of home renovation, which we all know is not an easy one. And so there will be very concrete examples of that, as well as solutions to address energy poverty, to address modernization of district heating systems at local level, and many other topics. Now, just to draw your attention that there is a call and the new Life Clean Energy Transition sub-program, which is still open for application until mid-November. And there it is precisely about supporting innovative and breakthrough projects in challenging environments, as it is the case today. So this is one of the sessions. Then there is another one dedicated to closing the investment gap in energy efficiency, so in a way they are complementary. We will be presenting insights from the Energy Efficiency Financial Institutions Group. So really, how does the energy efficiency first principle apply and is applied by financial institutions? The idea here is really how can all these projects be pooled so that they become attractive also for a bank, for a financial institution in general, to invest in it. So very interesting to hear about that. And then we have, of course, a session dedicated to the energy transition and autonomy in the defense sector. We don't often think about that, but in fact, energy demand and energy resilience are important aspects of the defense sector, of the armed forces. And also there, we should seize the potential to reduce the energy demand and to make more efficient use of energy. So there will be a session on this. And apart on top of the financing aspects, the defense sector. There will also be a session looking more closely at the energy performance of buildings. Again, showcasing very concrete examples from, in this case, the Mediterranean region. How have we gone? How is it possible to go about buildings and making them more efficient, making them integrated as part of the energy system, seizing all the efficiency potential that it offers. So, just to give you a quick overview of the upcoming sessions this morning, and now to conclude, the clear message. It is very clear, obvious, no-brainer that the case for energy efficiency has never been more urgent, even though it's been really neglected for a long time. And maybe it's because it's not easy to make a poster and advertising about energy efficiency. It's very difficult to visualize it, right? So maybe this is the reason why it's not more picked up. Otherwise, we would have difficulties in understanding why is it that we're not making more out of it. So I would like to also make a plea, leave you with this request when you go back home, to really not leave energy efficiency in this room and in this building. Bring it back with you, the messages that you will be hearing, and convey them within your family, within your circle of friends, within the work where you are, because as said, there is a role for each and every one of us to do our share to contribute to energy efficiency, which should really be a no-brainer, and at the end of the day, it can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula, for outlining so nicely what the Commission is doing in terms of energy efficiency, and also what we can expect from today. I believe we have indeed a very exciting program ahead, and a lot of knowledge that all of us will be able to gather in this thematic block this morning and bring back to our communities. So thank you very much once again, and to all of you, remember that we have our 2 slots of policy sessions coming up, one from 9:30, and then there will be at 11 a coffee break in between. So make sure to make your choice of the session that you'd like to attend. Make sure once again to have your phone devices in hand to get participating and asking questions, and we'll see you back. Enjoy this morning.